Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of AeroChat, my Frutiger Aero podcast, where I talk about the most beloved aesthetic of the early to late 2000s and 2010s. We'll also be talking about its other aesthetics and more. So today's first episode is going to be about the history of Frutiger Aero. I have a few notes in my notebook, forgive me if this episode isn't very accurate, as I wasn't alive when FA was popular. I just did a bit of online research and tried to mix multiple sources together. Yeah. Okay, so let's first start with the start. So, by the early 2000s, computers had become more advanced, so operating system manufacturers like Linux, even though that wasn't popular at the time, Microsoft Windows, and Mac OS can make more exciting and user-friendly graphical user interfaces. So when Windows XP released in October 2001, there were a few default user interfaces. There was Luna, olive green, and silver. And the default one, the Luna, had gradients, so did silver and olive green. It was blue, and it had the default wallpaper called Bliss, which is arguably one of the most popular images in human history. And it had a massive impact on nature and tech. And Microsoft went on to use more nature in their advertising. And Mac OS 10 Aqua also released in 2001, and it had water droplets, auroras, etc. This was also an example of early Frutiger Aero. So, around the time that both these operating systems had released, plasma display TVs were increasing in popularity, and in stores, videography and photography of nature and the ocean and animals would be shown in an attempt to impress the viewer. And around this time, stock images of tall buildings, grasses, water, and more started to become more common. A big example of this is acidyl design, where you can see a lot of this design in their stock images. And around the time, and in 2007, Microsoft released Windows Vista, and the default theme was named Aero, and it had glossiness, translucent effects, and Aero. And the name actually stands for authentic, energetic, respective, and open. And from here, Frutiger Aero was extremely popular. It was seen on game consoles like the Wii, the Xbox 360, in television, music, and much more. At the time, it was called Web 2.0 glass, as the aesthetic was also prominent on the internet, like websites like Apple.com, the Twitter website, BlackBerry, Mozilla, and Skype. However, at the time, Frutiger Aero was actually disliked because everyone said that they were getting tired of the theme, and every single website looked the same because they couldn't stop seeing it everywhere. But this was good for them because around the early 2010s, a flat design started to gain more popularity. The Windows Phone, released 2010, was the first product to receive a flat UI. And this Metro UI, as we know it now, actually had an impact as it was the default theme for Windows 8 as well. Around this time, Scott Forstall, who was the head of Apple design, got fired in place of Jony Ive. And so, in 2013, iOS 7 used flat design because of his love for simplicity. And around that time, Frutiger Aero started to die. But it didn't completely die. It was still prominent in some places, like the Zune, which released in 2013, and the PlayStation 4, which released in 2013. So around the time from 2013 to 2017, it wasn't a big tech corporate design style anymore. But Sophia Lee from the Consumer Aesthetics Research Institute actually coined the term Frutiger Aero. Around 2022, social media started to popularize Frutiger Aero, and the aesthetic was seen as nostalgic. This is where the idea that Frutiger Aero was our promised future came from. And with companies like Skios and with other stuff going on, I think the Frutiger Aero community is really massive right now. But right now, Frutiger Aero will probably not ever be a design style. But it is worth noting, in the newest iOS and macOS, there is a new user interface, which is called Liquid Glass. It's not exactly Frutiger Aero, in my opinion, but it is an upgrade from the simplicity of iOS that we've had. But it's definitely not Frutiger Aero. So anyways, thank you guys for listening to this. Thank you for watching this. This is my very first episode of the podcast, so please give me any feedback in the comments down below. But you're the ones listening to this, so if you have any ideas on what you would like me to do, then please comment them down below. Make sure to visit my blog, AeroChatPodcast.wordpress.com, where I get an update if I post a new episode, and I just post about Frutiger Aero stuff in general. If you like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And have a good day.